Screen devices centralize previously dispersed cultural value and, like traditional money, function as an access key to a myriad meanings and stimulations offered by culture, with the main difference being that they make hedonic stimulation and cultural immersion easier, puts them at your fingertips, albeit at a more superficial and passive level as compared to the traditional immersion that could, in previous times, be accessed with money. Plus, screen time doesn't by itself provide the status or the freedom from and power over others that money provides. And it certainly does not provide the sense of cosmic significance of true religiosity and spirituality. Still, the broad but more superficial cultural immersion of screen time itself provides an easily accessible minimal level of self-esteem, as it automatically grants the person the status of participant, even if of a low status class. The comparable value that screen time has with money might be conceptualized by thinking of an average working class individual who was offered millions of dollars in exchange for never again using any screen, TV, computer, smartphone, etc. He or she may very well refuse the offer. Of course, a tricky aspect of isolating the terror management aspects of screen use is that they interact with life outside of the screen. And while certain death-related aspects of the real world are suppressed through screen mediation, others are augmented via enhanced information and images, leading to increased mortality salience in some ways. Still, as the immersivity and escapist or hedonic elements of technology keep increasing, and most income brackets, from rich to poor, end up spending most of their waking time interacting with digital content. This increased screen time leads to a certain equalization of daily experiences in the escapist or hedonic realm, with perhaps a historically unprecedented level of sensory stimulation. Unless the depth and emotional impact of screen time cultural immersivity can approach the levels of real-world traditional cultural immersion, it's hard to envision screen time yielding greater levels of self-esteem. Screen time will remain a fundamentally hedonic anxiety buffer. This makes it harder to think of any substantial substitution effect where the self-esteem acquired through screen time can lessen or at least fundamentally redirect ambitions in the real world. And it's hard to draw any general conclusions from this except Ernest Becker's insight that hedonism is not heroism for most people. It seems likely that what Becker calls our historical drivenness toward self-esteem acquisition, especially through the ecologically destructive accumulation of money and objects, or other standard aspects of cultural striving, will not be significantly reduced. Thus, this drivenness alone would seem to ultimately negate the beneficial effects of increased knowledge due to technological advances. Certain tendencies already apparent in the online sphere are also not encouraging, such as the pervasive creation of echo chambers to counter the mortality salience of increased potential challenges to one's worldview. According to Benedict Anderson, the religious self-esteem erosion that took place as a result of Enlightenment secularization, plus the centralization of cultural information and fostering of commonalities generated by print capitalism, for example, the mass ceremony of newspaper reading substituting morning prayers, created the legacy-oriented national identity. What existed previous to the imagined community of the modern nation were pre-industrial societies like kingdoms, empires, tribal lands, more oriented toward the afterlife. However, the also revolutionary technology of the internet and screen time has not had a similar coalescing effect in terms of creating a global or international identity that might enhance self-esteem, or at least orient human drivenness in a less destructive direction. And there's no clear indication that AI would change that. The more salient beneficiaries and promoters of internationalist policies have been exploitative financial elites, a fact that has also deterred individuals from considering the benefits of a more global perspective.